This is a new speaker that we're carrying called the Betsy Baffle. It's made by Caintuck Audio here in the US, and it is a deceptively simple loudspeaker. It has no crossover, it has no box, it's just a simple baffle, but it doesn't sound like a speaker just shoved in a board. It's got pretty decent low end response. You would expect a speaker that looks like this to sound like somebody stole the woofers out of your speaker and you're now listening to a giant mid-range. But that's clearly not the case with these, and at least in this room I've always had a good frequency balance without using a sub, even though they lend themselves well to being used with a sub, because they have a pretty good roll off and you don't need a crossover to high pass the speaker. But in any case, I'm going to demo these today with the same setup that I used to demo the DNA horns in that particular video, just to have some consistency. And the only difference is that today I'm going to use a 2-watt amp instead of a 20-watt amp. And the reason for that is because I can. These are efficient enough that with a 2-watt amp, it's not going to get rock and roll loud, but it's a nice, enjoyable listening level. And these things, with a single Zen amp and a pair of these, you're at about $1,400. Say $1,500 by the time you add some cables. And when you hear how holographic the sound is and how well these things image, you can see I have them spread. You can't see the other one, but I have the other one, it's this symmetrical space. I've got them this wide because I can. They fill the space in the middle so well that you can really pull them in and create a nice arc and get a really dimensional soundstage with fabulous depth. The only caveat is that the setup is, it's just not going to happen anywhere you set them down. And the best way to do it is while they're playing, you just experiment, just listen. Just listen to what they do. Make subtle little adjustments. Try it out here. Try them over here. But while the music's playing, you'll hear it focus up and defocus as you move the speaker around. So that's how you set them up. It's so simple. There's a handle on the back. So in any case, let's fire these up and see what you can have at home for, completely from scratch, $1,500. You can experience a completely 3D soundstage, the kind that it's not even available, in a retail store for anything under 5 figures. It's just not. You might think it is, but when you hear this, you'll understand. So I guess that's it. Let me move the camera a little bit. Okay, to go back on the price thing. When I say $1,500, I'm not talking about the speakers, which that wouldn't even really be unreasonable for how they sound. I'm talking about the speakers and the amplifier together. Now obviously you could get a less expensive amp. But the whole point of this is that these speakers, by virtue of the fact that they have no crossover, they're efficient, and they're a coherent point source without a box, makes it possible to hear the serious magic of a Zen amp, which, quite frankly, a lot of speakers are going to get you close, but they're going to fall short in a number of areas. And these aren't perfect either, but by God, for $350, it's a huge, beautiful arc of sound. The frequency balance is good. It's believable. The imaging is good. And, you know, I'm still trying to figure out how they have any bass at all. Not to mention that when you're sitting here, your knees should be getting a great show, but it's lifted. It's 8-10 feet high. It's a beautiful panoramic arc. Everything's in the right place. The scale is there. There's no holes. You don't hear any sound coming out of the boxes. Of course, a lot of that is the amp, but still, that's really what this is about. How to have a DECWARE Zen experience for $1,500. It's never been possible before because, quite honestly, nobody who could only spend $1,500 on an amp and speakers is going to have a $10,000 source. And up until recently, digital has frankly sucked to the point where it took $28,000 to get a listenable front end. You were better off to have a $250 turntable up until, just in the last 10 years, if you're a sincere but broke audiophile. Now, I've heard memory stick DACs that cost $200 that sound better than a full-blown Assault would have 20 years ago. So it is now possible, without spending any significant money, to discover the beauty of music in a way that very, very few people ever get to hear. So let's fire this up and see what you think. Oh, I'm using the same mics as always, the ones that are hanging 9 feet above the floor behind the couch. And they record as much of the room as they do the speakers. That's why you can hear me. So with that, let me hit play and see what you think.
Feeling like there's 10 tons on my shoulder. Looking like the fool that you want me to be.
Alright, and now I've got them set up here in a more conventional fashion. And see what you think of that. That feels really good. It's with no fatigue. That's something you could literally, especially with the carpet, listen to it all night long, all day and all night long. You're not going to get tired of it. You're not going to get fatigued. At least not with the DECWARE amp. So enjoy it. Okay, just to give the speakers a fair demo, while they will work, as you heard, rather well on 2 watts, I've got them hooked up to a little bit more power. I mean, I'm not listening to it a lot louder, but we're probably using 5 or 6 watts, and it's just enough to fill and pressurize the room, the space a bit. And I'm not going to adjust the recording levels because I never do. So this is going to be maybe a little bit louder than the last one. This is a piece from Opus 3 sampler that you should be familiar with. it's completely real. Okay, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That was sick. $350. You'd be a fool not to try it. I mean, seriously. Holy crap.